What's up, everybody? So, I received a interesting comment asking about Sisters of Silence and are they physically augmented? And before I get into kind of how I want to ramble about that, always keep your comments coming if you so desire. Always fun to read them and see what people have to say question-wise or what have you. With that said, this one I thought was pretty interesting because it got me thinking about augmentation in 40K a bit and about the Sisters of Silence. So I thought instead of just saying a yes or no answer, I thought I'd do a real brief breakdown of augmentation in 40K. You could say, lore wise or whatever. Uh, and then a real brief breakdown of the Sisters of Silence and why my answer is what it's going to be for are they augmented physically or not. So augmentation in 40K comes in different packages, either as a permanent thing or a temporary thing. Temporary typically comes from the warp, right? Biomancy or other type of warp gifts or temporary gifts, what have you, bestowed by a demon or by a sorcerer or what have you. A buff from some sort augmenting you temporarily. You see this more so in video gaming RPG type stuff like 40K Inquisitor, and you see it in the tabletop role playing games more so, but you'll still see it in any type of psychic power that temporarily for an assault phase or whatever gives the user a higher strength or something. It's a temporary augmentation for the user. More often than not, though, augmentations on a permanent basis. Now you have three types. You mentioned warp, which could be a temporary psychic power boost, or it could be a chaos god gift, which is a permanent thing for the person. You have biological, which the Tyranids are the best example of, but even outside of Tyranids, you have Gene Seed for the Space Marines, you have the Custodes for existence and such like and stuff like that. And you have some genotype Astro Militarum forces out there. It's nothing crazy. It might let them breathe in chemicals that better or something, or make them a little bit bulkier. It's not going to be anything to put them in the spectrum of Astartes even at all, but it just makes them in some capacity a little bit more than a standard human. And you'll see augmentation on that regard as a genetic type of thing. Tyranids, of course, you look at the Carnifex, the wrecking ball style of claws, their crushing claws, and their venom cannons. Same Carnifex, or two different Carnifex, the same species, if you will, of Tyranid bioweapon with different biomorphs on them, hence the augmentations. With that said, you have technological augmentation. This is probably one of the more thought of by the vast majority of people in 40K. Orcs with their cyborg bodies do this. Obviously, the Imperium at large does this. Chaos at large does this. You'll see artwork for Tau with bionic eyes or other bionic stuff, and same thing for Eldar with typically a bionic eye style of fashion. So, Mechanicum, obviously part of the Imperium. You'll see this kind of widespread across many factions in 40K. And this is the one that's probably more common. Astartes, you could say, and a whole race of the Tyranids makes the biological augmentation pretty common itself. But as far as being more noticeable, I mean, Tyranids are very noticeable, but bionic limbs and cybernetic organs and whatnot tend to be a bit more of a overt as opposed to a covert thing. So there is that. Now, with that all said and done, technological augmentation runs the gambit of just giving you some like if you lost a leg, it gives you locomotion back in you with giving you your leg back, but barely does anything else. Probably gonna be a little bit uncomfortable. You're gonna walk with a limp, and you can run the gambit all the way to super awesome limb of destruction, right? So there's a wide disparity, if you will, of bionic quality, but that is kind of the way things go in 40K. So with that said, when we're thinking Sisters of Silence, which are the psychic blanks They're not the sororitas. Don't confuse the two. The Sisters of Silence are a very specialized force. They're they have their number on board black ships and the like. They are psychic blanks in the warp. The warp recoils from their presence. It doesn't affect them, stuff like that. They're very much unnatural in the eyes of even standard normal people. A normal human, for example, finding as they're also known, untouchable, a pariah, very off-putting, very weird and creepy and uncomfortable to be around. So, with that said, the Sisters of Silence do not have innate physical augmentation to them, the likes of which you might see elsewhere in a fighting force, such as Astartes, for example. They're not augmented in any way to make them physically superior to a non-Sister of Silence female. They are very much human in that aspect. However, with that being said, they have advanced training, advanced technology, and for the Imperium on their side. So they are able to perform a lot better than your standard human forces out there. And with that being said, by and large, the technological aspect of things, such as bionic limbs and the like, are a reactionary device that's installed to said lost limb area. So given the rare commodity that a psychic blank is, and that the Sisters of Silence are, and how specialized and important their role is, if one of them gets an arm lobbed off in a fight, they're going to get a bionic replacement. So you would have them therefore being physically augmented, but not as a standard practice to creating them, if that makes any sense. And their physical augmentation is going to be very much technological in origin. Now, there's not really a whole lot of concrete stuff to back anything that's being set up. It's all just my extrapolation when you look at fluff on them, artwork on them, models of them, and whatnot. That's just the way it tends to look and seem. They don't have quite the stringent, strict standards that Custodes do, so if you were able to model one up with a bionic arm, you could, and it would still be a fighting force as opposed to being an Eye of the Emperor like the Custodes with bionic replacements become. Anyways, with that said, though, maybe not so much a physical augmentation, but there's a real possibility that Sisters of Silence are augmented in their creation process. Remember, Ashram Militarum, you just trained. Maybe you're part of a Geno regiment and you get slight something or other, right? That doesn't really matter. But Ashram Militarum stuff and Sisters of Battle, they're not physically augmented in their training to become themselves. Astartes are, biologically augmented, and then Iron Hands take that to the technological level in their creation. Custodes is complete arcane bioscience to make them be the perfect beings that they are. Sisters of Silence may not have a physical augmentation in their creation process, but they still might be augmented. And I bring this up to kind of just place a tinfoil hat on the table, not wear it, because this isn't a conspiracy ramble here. But when you think about how rare the pariah gene is in the lore of 40k for humanity, you run into this question of, okay, they're said to be, the one concrete number we got for size of them was during 30k time period, but was quoted as thousands, plural. So given that there could be a whole system of worlds that have no pariahs on them, or maybe one in 10 generations, right? Now, we do have a little bit of the fluff having things feel a little bit more widespread than they actually are, but still, the pariah gene is a very rare thing. And if humanity has 1,000 worlds and each world had a pariahs on it, it would be one pariah every couple of generations at best per world. So that would be, let's say 1,000 or so pariahs out there. Now you got that 50-50 chance of them being male or female. And then you got an even smaller percentage of them surviving discovery. And what I mean by that is pariahs are often ostracized by the society that they're in. If it's a more primitive or feral society of the Imperium or more superstitious society of the Imperium, they'll probably just be killed off. So you have a very low survival rate of pariahs to reach some type of functionality of being discovered and put to use like they are. So perhaps what we have with the Sisters of Silence, to get all conspiracy theory-esque, is some really, it's kind of sinister, because you're basically soulless if you're a pariah. Some type of interesting, perhaps slightly sinister, dark, secretive, dangerous, and advanced process that the Sisters of Silence go through to become full-fledged Sisters of Silence. What we do know is that even the ones in training are psychic blanks. They're not like they become it and they get full force. Every time we see them in any lore, they're psychic blanks. Even if it's an aspirant, a neophyte or whatever, there's still a null, a psychic null, a untouchable, a pariah. So that would imply that before they even undergo training, that they have to be this pariah gene in them or have it imparted in them. Now, this is a big leap because we don't really have enough fluff to go on anything, especially for the 41st millennium on them. We just have the questioning of, well, how can we have such a large fighting force of all female pariahs given the rarity of the pariah gene and how it can manifest itself in both men and women? So it only stands to reason, you could say, that there might be something going on to create them into pariahs, kind of like the ultimate sacrifice that they're making of their very soul in a way, to be these unsettling, unnerving psychic blanks. And maybe this is why we see a sisterhood of silence and not a company of silence or a legion of silence or whatever of a mixed gender. Because maybe like how Astartes and Custodes processes only work on male physiology, maybe the process to create pariah psychic blanks is only successful to any degree on the female body. Could be, who knows, right? We just don't know. I'm just spitballing here. But if that is the case, and if they are a mixture of maybe a few of them being born pariahs, or maybe the program of the original sisters are pariahs, and then their offspring are pariahs because of whatever they went through, whatever the case is, you could look at the potential, if we ever get more information on them, more concrete information on them, of that being their augmentation in their creation process. So basically, in short, augmentation comes in a biological variety, technological variety, and even warp-based variety, which tends to be the one that would have temporary really in there. Most all augmentation is a permanent basis. Forces such as Custodes, Astartes, and Tyranids have biological augmentation going on through them. Custodes very being, Astartes gene seed, Tyranids biomorphs. Technological augmentation is much more widespread. Cyborgs for the orcs, the Imperium at large, Chaos at large. We even see art for Tau and Eldar having bionic eyes and the like. Necrons are technology, so are they augmented, or that's up in the air. And then when it comes to the Sisters of Silence, they're not physically augmented in their creation process, but they maybe have undergone some type of more sinister augmentation to become psychic blank pariahs. Who knows, right? You get thousands of them. It's going to be hard to get thousands of them in fighting condition, around the same age and everything, given the rarity of pariah genes happening normally. So who knows? Anyways, just a little quick, down and dirty, super fast, skimming the surface breakdown of augmentation in 40k / the Imperium, and a breakdown on maybe there's something more to this Sisters of Silence than what we've learned thus far. So thanks for the comment, for inspiring that, and continue leaving any questions, comments, or concerns in the comment section below. And until next time, everybody, take it easy.